What's up, goobers? I'm gonna be talking about FNaF today. Kinda. It's a little more complicated than that. But first, let me slip into something a little more comfortable. Much better. If you've been on the internet at all in the past 10 years or so, you've definitely heard of FNaF in some way. You know, Five Nights at Freddy's, the one with the funny bear. He makes the funny noises. But what about FNaF Fangames? You know, like a game made by fans? Isn't that fun? Well, that's what this video is about. Some fan games are really good. They have really strong art direction and engaging mechanics and pretty good music, and some of them are Five Nights with Mac Tonight. I want to talk about a few specific FNaF fan games that have stuck out to me over the years in my recent fixation with Five Nights at Freddy's. But first, I want to tell a little bit of a story about my first exposure to Five Nights at Freddy's. My first exposure to the funny bear himself was in 2016, when my friends decided we were going to roleplay Five Nights at Freddy's during 4th grade recess. I had no idea what any of the characters were or what was going on, and I don't think we were even doing anything related to the game, but I think I was given the role of phone guy. So, that's cool. I only ever gained the courage to watch someone play Five Nights at Freddy's in about 2022, and it was Markiplier's security breach playthrough. But ever since, I've slowly become desensitized to horror as a whole, and I'm dead inside now. Woo! Before I get to the main game I want to talk about, there are two others I want to discuss in a bit less detail. First of which being One Night at Flumpty's 3 by Jonochrome. Huge disclaimer before I continue, I do not condone anything that Jonochrome has done. He's a terrible person. I'm separating the art from the artist because this fan game is pretty good, and I think it kind of needs to be talked about, but I can't talk about it without talking about the guy who made it. Yeah. Let's get into the game. You might be thinking, why not talk about One Night at Flumpty's 1 and 2? Why skip to the 3rd? Because they're bad. The first game is just a clone of FNaF 1, and the second game is incredibly boring. It's not like skipping right to the third game makes the lore confusing. There's no lore to begin with. Alright, enough dilly-dallying. Let's get into the gameplay. The game starts with you stuck in some sort of igloo? I think it's an igloo. Whatever it is, it must be pretty cold as the thermometer in the corner of the screen is quickly going down. In order to prolong your icy demise, the room you're trapped in comes with a furnace on one end that you can sit by to warm up every now and then. You're equipped with 20 camera flashes, your only way to keep threats away from your room. Most of the enemies need to be flashed to send them back to their spawning room, except for a couple. Grunkfist the Clown hates being flashed, so if you flash the hallway while he's in it, you die. Also, I really like the detail of him being in an art exhibit that forbids flash photography. It's a neat detail along with telling the player exactly what to do when he approaches. There's also some red guy that keeps you from using the furnace sometimes, leaving you freezing, waiting for him to leave so you can finally warm up. Overall, it's a neat challenge that lasts a little under 10 minutes. Once you reach 6 AM, the clock goes backwards. You're given the same goal as you were at the start of the game, survive until 6 AM. When playing through the first night, you might notice that Flumpty himself is mysteriously missing. The titular character. Well, that's because he was waiting for his turn. In Flumpty Night, every threat is brutally murdered and replaced by some variant of Flumpty. Along with these new versions of old enemies, the night also adds several more Flumptys and extra mechanics to watch out for. Extra rooms appear out of nowhere, cameras get swapped around, the time and temperature start fluctuating like crazy, more eggs are added, until finally, the music kicks in. Eleggtroswing perfectly encapsulates the frantic chaos of Flumpty Night in the final few minutes. While more threats are added even still, you got this goofy song playing in the background pushing you to victory. I really like this song. It incorporates the "Yay, you made it to 6 AM" jingle that these games usually use into the song itself, which I find cool. It also features Flumpty singing a little bit, where all he really says is a couple egg puns.
Welcome to Flumpty Bumpties, it's your time to beat the egg and leave this place behind. Your brain is feeling scrambled, the end is out of sight, but if you hold on longer, you might survive the night.
I think the song is a fantastic end to the Flumpty series. At least it would be if it weren't for hard-boiled mode, but I'm not beating that for this video. I didn't actually beat Flumpty Night for this video either, but we're not going to talk about that. Eleggtroswing is probably my second favorite song to come out of one of these games. We'll get to the other one much later. The next fan game I want to talk about is a little more recent, but I have a lot less to say about it. Too Many Nights by Maple, aka It Dear. is such a unique FNaF fan game because it takes place in the genre of games I both love the most and despise the most. Roguelikes. But how do you turn FNaF into a roguelike, I hear you asking? Well, the game has you pick from a few different characters to play as with slightly different attributes before making you pick 3 animatronics from a randomized set of 7 to go against for the first night, as well as a penalty to start with. This could be a generic thing, like nights lasting a bit longer, though most of them are character specific. Once the night is completed, you pick 1 more animatronic along with 1 more penalty. Sometimes you get to buy perks at shops between nights, although I forgot how often it happens. There doesn't seem to be an end to it. You just go until it gets too overwhelming and you lose all your lives. I don't really get the whole too many nights thing though, because I only ever last until night 5 or so. Overall, it's pretty neat. I'm looking forward to the day it gets finished. But this video isn't about those other games. It never was. I mean, it kind of was, but this was all just an excuse to talk about Playtime with Percy. I love Playtime with Percy, and I've wanted an excuse to talk about it, so I figured for my first real YouTube video, I'm gonna talk about it. Playtime with Percy, created by FazieFunbear, quickly became my favorite FNaF-inspired game I've ever played. I say FNaF-inspired instead of FNaF fan game because the creator of the game said he wants Playtime with Percy to be its own thing, and not just like a fan game. Pretty sure the most recent update of Playtime with Percy got rid of any references to things from FNaF itself, so it can be more distinct. The story of this game is pretty simple. You play as Nick, tasked with watching over Percy's playhouse for a week until the building can be demolished on Friday morning. The game differs from the usual FNaF formula by changing how you complete each night. Instead of simply surviving a countdown, you're equipped with a neat little gadget you play games on to fill up a meter. But plot twist, it's evil! I personally like this gameplay a lot more than just sitting. It gives you room to speedrun and complete each night as fast as possible, which is a lot more satisfying than just sitting there. Before getting into what I like about the game, I want to get anything I don't like out of the way, since I have way more positive opinions than negative. I really like this game. Personally, I don't find the cutscene artwork all too appealing. No hate to the cutscene artist, it just doesn't really click for me. It feels a little disjointed from the rest of the art in the game. Second, the cameras are almost unnecessary. There's only one threat in the game that requires the cameras, and he only starts appearing on night 4 onward. Even then, if you're fast enough, you can beat night 4 without checking, and night 5 with checking like once. It's such a shame because seeing the animatronics in the cameras is usually a pretty neat aspect of FNaF-style games. This game has some pretty neat camera images. I'm now realizing this video might just be repeating all the points in Ayaz's video, so oops. Other than these 2 things, I have nothing but praise for the game, so let's get into all that. First off, I think each animatronic's gameplay is very well designed. They each serve a very basic purpose that when combined together leads to a pretty fun gameplay loop. Charlie the cat wants you to look at him when he's in your office, so put all your tools down or he kills you. Mother Moose is the opposite, needing you to keep one of your tools up to avoid death. Night 2 adds Farmer Felix, who doesn't have an animal in his name, so I can only assume he's a human. He walks past the window in your office, and you need to match the color of a Simon Says machine with the color of his eyes, or he kills you. Night 3 adds Percy Poodle, the titular character that doesn't show up until halfway through the game, who will bang on your door and you need to hold it shut until he goes away. On night 4, the cameras finally become useful with Rowan Rat. He will appear in one of the 4 corner rooms and you need to shock him to keep him from killing you. There's a radar system in the cameras so you can tell where he is. This is the only mechanic that doesn't feel super solid. Every other threat has clear audio signs of attacking, so needing to just check the camera every once in a while to see if he might be there is kind of weird. There's also the playful poodles, but who cares? They don't do anything. Along with the normal gameplay, each night has a unique post-night minigame attached to it that you need to clear before progressing. These range from trying to beat a high score on an arcade cabinet before the building gets demolished, or repairing Farmer Felix after he slips and falls on the floor, and struggling with the stupid crank that doesn't ever seem to work. I like these minigames a lot. They add a lot of variety to the admittedly repetitive nature of these kinds of games where you're just sitting in a room doing the same thing over and over. Anyway, upon beating Friday Night and repairing Percy Poodle by using the Pal Percy as a substitute battery, why would he do this? Why would this seem like a good idea? I guess he doesn't know that it's evil, but like, why would he do this? The credits start to roll. However, something doesn't seem right. The music starts to distort. The credits start mentioning weird stuff like Tama Opti, Tama Lanky, Tama Broody, Tama... what? Huh? Before a 3-dimensional arm reaches across the screen and rips the credits away to show that, the evil toy is being evil and taking over Percy Poodle. Nick finally does something rational for the first time in the game and runs away, ending up in a storage room of some sort. From this point on, all the graphics are 3D. The 3D models here are excellent and honestly pretty creepy. Each of the cameras is also in 3D too. and every room in the building is covered in these creepy, wired tentacles. After getting acquainted with an early Pal Percy model with all new minigames, the final challenge begins. Friday morning. Friday morning is a 5-phase long boss level, pitting you against the very device you've been playing with all week. Each enemy in this night is some variation of a pal or a poodle, and each phase, or charge, adds more. Basically, there are 5 charges, each completed by filling up the meter on your pal. So basically, this game surprises you by doubling its content at the very end, which is honestly so sick. Remember way earlier when I said Eleggtroswing was my second favorite song from one of these games? Well, this is the number 1. Tama Terrors. This is the song that accompanies you through the final boss fight, and it might genuinely be my favorite piece of video game music of all time. Except of course for the Resident Evil basement music. Each charge of the night basically has its own soundtrack, each part sounding unique while still feeling like part of the same song. As more threats are introduced, more chaos is added to the song. It keeps building up and building up until you reach the 4th charge when...
Don't you get it? I'm your best pal, and we'll be together forever.
The 4th charge has Pal taking over the TVs in your room and replacing them with his own face, maniacally laughing to fit the song. I love the Pal Percy sound effects in the background of this charge. It really adds to the chaotic feel of the song and gameplay. Once you get to the final charge, you can still faintly hear Pal laughing in the background as he makes one final desperate push to get into your room. Once the final charge is completed, your Pal deactivates. Your only goal now is to survive a timer until the building's power shuts down. The music slowly dies down, as do the lights in the room, until finally, you win. Or lose, I guess, if you suck at the game. Once the countdown finally ends, a wrecking ball slams into the building and Pal dies! But not really, unfortunately he survives. Which, hey, I guess leaves room for the New Game Plus and the Playtime with Percy Steam release. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, they're currently working on a Steam release for Playtime with Percy with a bunch of achievements, a new P rank to go for in each level, and a New Game Plus with a whole new playable character, as well as some improved cutscene graphics, I think, which is awesome. Safe to say I'm super excited for it, and I'm gonna play the heck out of it when it comes out. I really hope it's soon, I've been waiting for so long, please, 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 please. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. Sorry if it's poorly structured and all over the place. This is my first attempt at a real YouTube video, so I'm sure it'll improve over time. If you enjoyed the video, why not like and subscribe? If you didn't, why not also like and subscribe? There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye! Also, Tekken sounds was good, but I didn't feel like including it.